Good evening. This is a public meeting of the Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for December 12, 2011. Tonight we have one petition before us under new business. And before I address that, I'd like to remind everyone, if anyone wants to speak on behalf of a petition, that they please sign in with your name and address before addressing the board. So under new business, we have ZB 2011-58. Petition is a special permit. The applicant is Erwin Yates, care of Yates Realty Company, property located at 278 Central Street. And the petition is to renovate the second and third floors into a total of 17 residential units pursuant to Article 12, Table of Uses. Will the petitioner please address the board?
Mr. Chairman, for the record, James Flood, 549 Roger Street, Lowell, representing Aaron Yates, the petitioner. Could I just bring you up some papers before?
Absolutely.
With me tonight is Paul Yates, who is Aaron's husband, who runs the building. The property is Zone DMU in the downtown mixed-use district. It's the former Farragut Hotel, which was originally constructed somewhere around 1825 and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. We're before you tonight for a special permit under Article 12 to renovate the second and third floors into 17 one-bedroom lodging residential units. My client purchased the property in 2006, at which time the property was in serious disrepair. It was their original intent to renovate the property into 12 residential units. And as a matter of fact, in 2009, they appeared in front of this board for a special permit to do that. And I think the only one on the board at the time was Mr. Noon, and that was approved. But because of the cost of a complete renovation, they couldn't do it. My client has, however, though, completed the renovation of the existing units as they have always been on the second and third floor. And I've given you copies of the permits from the City of Lowell. I also requested a history from the city assessors as to the assessment of this property, and as you can see, the building is presently assessed as mixed use, commercial on the first floor, which there's a bar that is closed right now, and lodging houses on the floors above. It's been assessed that way since 1996, and prior to that, and from 86 to 96, it was assessed as a store and apartments, and prior to that, it was the Farragut Hotel. So I think traditionally, through the years, it's always been used as a lodging type business. I also spoke with Ryan Wynn of the License Commission, who's been with that commission since 1981, which I didn't realize. That's a long time. And he says it's been licensed as a lodging house from 1980 through 2006, when the property was sold to my clients, and they didn't come in and renew the license from 2006 on. It is my opinion that the proposed use adheres to the City of Lowell Master Plan. One of the goals of the master plan is to provide affordable housing to residents of the city, and this could very well do that. It can provide housing for the elderly, transient workers, students, and I've given you a letter from the shelter. They have a program where they are seeking places for people in transition to live in, and they are interested in taking some of these spots. So it will provide affordable housing within the downtown district, and will hopefully provide additional business for the businesses located there. In addition, the income received by my clients will help them to complete the renovation of the building. They've done quite a bit of work, but they haven't finished it. They've been in front of they've met with the historic people, they've done some of the historic renovations, but they have to finish some of the work on the outside, plus they intend to put on a new roof. There will be no change in the neighborhood character because it's been used that way for many, many years. And it should not have any additional impact on city services. Trash pickup will be private. There will be no children because it'll be a one-bedroom unit. And the complete renovation will add to the city's tax base through taxation. I've read through the staff comments, and I would like, at this point, to make a request to waive the requirements of a plan in accordance with 11.42. The reason why we didn't do all of that work was because one reason was because of the cost, but we're not doing anything to the outside of that building. What we're requesting is the special permit for the units inside the building, and I did present you all with a plan of the units as they have been renovated.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Regarding the cost.
$3,000 to $4,000.
Yeah, which came up at, I think you were
I
in
was here.
attendance
I was here, yeah.
at our last meeting, and I actually asked that question today about the cost, because the cost has never come up, to my knowledge, since I've been on this board, what the true cost is to put that package together.
It's $3,000 to $4,000, and, you know, really, for people to spend that money before, I can see it on a big development, but well, it was a single family, it was an addition to a house. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money to spend when they don't even know whether they're gonna get it. And I think when they do apply to the building department, they'll have to provide them with all that information there then anyway, so I think it's a big expense, so.
And since I don't have any specifics around that, that's something I'm gonna require from the city. I'd like to see a breakdown of how those costs are associated, just so we as a board have an understanding and sensitivity to that.
I'm doing one now on a little 4,000 square foot lot, and it's $2,500 to $3,000 to have it done. So, but anyways, that's why since we're not doing anything outside and the building's been there, it hasn't changed since 1825, I didn't see there really was any need for all of that additional engineering. As to parking, there's probably enough space in the back of that building for 3 parking spaces. They would be temporary, and they would be used probably in conjunction with the commercial use on the first floor. As to the residential use, I spoke with Chuck Carney today of the city parking department, and he has assured me that he at least the 9 spaces required in either the early garage or the lower locks garage, and he's willing to enter into a lease for those spaces. So I think we can satisfy the zoning as far as the parking is concerned. As far as the dump is concerned, there's no problem if that was a condition of approval that we enclose the dumpster. One thing I would like to point out, however, is that there's going to be ongoing renovation of the property, including the roof and the side of the building. So there'd probably be a situation where we'll have to have 2 dumpsters on site, one for the use of the hotel, which we can enclose, and one that we can use for the building materials that we take off. And that's, Mr. Yates figures that's going to probably take another 6 to 9 months before that's all completed. So, we'd ask that you act favorably on this. They kind of really need the income so they can complete the job. And like I said, it's always been used in that same fashion for many, many years, and I think probably back to 1825. So we're here to answer any questions the board might have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Flood. Anyone else going to speak on your behalf at this point or not?
My name is Tim Shanahan of 155 Middlesex Street in Lowell. I'm the broker-owner of Merrimack Realty Group. I'm also on the board for JAMBRA and the Center City Committee, although I'm not here representing that. There is a need for it, which I'm finding now. I have a lot of people coming into the office looking for one-bedrooms, and the rental market is very strong right now, so for them to come up with it would be first, last security, they don't have it. When Mr. Yates and I discussed this opportunity with the rooming house, it would be more affordable, and there is a need for it in the area. So on behalf of Merrimack Realty Group, we'd love to have them come into the area. And Mr. Yates has also taken everything into consideration as far as security and as far as a strict lease and enforcement like that. So we're glad to have him on board.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, for the record, my name is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street, Lowell, Mass. Wish to be recorded in favor of this. It is a historic building. It does fit into the character, neighborhood character, and it certainly meets the comprehensive master plan of the city of Lowell. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, sir.
How you doing? Paul Yates. I'm the owner's husband. I've really worked hard on this building over the last 5 years. I've really tried to make a better building for the city of Lowell and for the gateway. I did work with Stephen Stoll and David St. Hilaire to renovate the outside of the building so it didn't look so dilapidated. I've worked really hard, and I appreciate your approval of this so that we can generate some revenue and continue the project.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so I guess I'll start off, Mr. Flood, with a couple of questions. Now regarding, so it's 17 units, one bedroom. In your overview, you had mentioned about the types, I guess I'll call it the types of potential renters that might be in there. You mentioned a few different people, elderly, students, I guess people looking for transitional type of housing.
Right. Or people that come into the city, like say they're working over on Jackson Street, transient workers that come in and want a place to stay for, a short period of time.
So are these units, just so I'm clear, are we talking leases per se? Are we talking one night? Can I get a little bit more definitive around that?
Well, Paul, would you explain how you're going to lease the property?
We're going to do week to week. So we're going to rent it by the week.
So it's a weekly,
Weekly rentals.
okay. Have you ever had weekly renters before in any property you've owned?
No,
Okay.
done month to month.
I'm sorry?
In previous properties I've owned, I've done month to month.
Okay. Okay.
He's talking $150 a week is rent.
Okay. All right. The parking, I was actually on the board when this came up the first time also, so.
Oh, you were?
I'm getting to be an old timer now, so watch out, Mr. Flood. I know the parking in the back, we had discussed the parking the first time this came up, and about using the off-site parking, I guess I'll call it. But the units, obviously the spaces in back are very limited. You had mentioned maybe using that just probably for the commercial use on the
Yeah.
first floor if available.
Nothing permanent, just temporary parking.
Yeah. Just a quick question for Joe on that. Again, to handicap parking, I always am a stickler on this handicap. If they were to put any parking in back there, would they be required to have any handicap parking?
No, given the size of the development, no handicap parking would be required for this particular
Okay.
project.
If there were more than 4, I think you might need one handicap, but I don't think you can fit, I
Right,
think 3 at the
right.
most.
Yeah. And I know I don't think anything was given to us on the plans that showed parking in back, was there?
No, we didn't have anything straight.
Correct.
But, I mean, if you wanted to make that a condition of approval, that's not a problem.
Yeah,
That wouldn't be our intention.
I think if there's obviously, it looks like you're going to use some of that area for parking. I'd like to see some type of layout that shows that, and I understand the handicap piece. The dumpster, I know that's shown on the plan, and you made reference to that. And I know in going through the write-up, and I know the city came back, and I think you might have seen the city's comments about full enclosure, solid, you know, the regular requirements that we have around the dumpsters. Another one of my favorite areas to get into.
The only thing I want to add to that,
Yep.
Mr. Bailey, is that anything we do, I think also has to go through the historic on the location and what we do on the dumpster, so that would be something.
Where
we
it's
should be-
cited in the back, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's a historic, it's in the National
Yep.
Historic Register, and I
Okay.
think they have some control over it.
Okay. I think that's all I have at this point. I think I'll just open it up to the public, since Mark was nice enough to jump up for the public there. Anyone here like to speak in favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Kevin?
Through you, Mr. Commissioner, a couple questions. When was this property last used as housing?
It's 2006,
It was being
just
used?
before they bought it, yes, it was a lodging house then, 2006.
It was permanent, but it was currently being used at that time as well?
Yes, it was.
Was.
What was his name? Steve Gonzalez? I read it also to me. Yeah. It's in 2006, and then they wanted to change it to 12 residential units, regular like a
All right.
condominium unit. Just became too expensive, so.
It was used in a similar fashion?
Right,
Weekly, nightly, whatever, whatever?
weekly
Weekly at
when
that
he
time
had
as
it,
well?
right.
Okay. It's not, obviously not ADA accessible or anything like that, so somebody had mentioned elderly, that's probably not a feasible option, I wouldn't think.
There's no elevator,
There's no, okay.
no elevator, no.
Looking at the plans, I didn't see anything. So it's basically one bathroom per floor?
Right. Two bathrooms per floor.
Okay, yeah, one's a half bath, I think, on the first floor?
One's a half,
And there's a
right.
shower and one
Yep.
tub in the other one on the
And there's a,
second.
was it a laundry room on the second floor? Third floor has a laundry room.
With the shower in the laundry room, if I'm reading the plans right? Okay. How about the bar on the first floor? Is that currently operating now?
It's closed right now.
It is closed.
Yeah, but
Okay.
we hope to have it reopened soon.
What am I- Parking, dumpsters. So it would be week to week, unknown, I guess, from length of stay, depending on the clientele, what they're doing, who's coming. I guess to voice any concerns I have, my concern is where it's located, coming into the city, to have 17 units of this size, people coming and going, just, it is a gateway to the city. That's a lot of units for unknown use.
What's there now, Kevin, is was there before. There's no change in the configuration of the units.
Okay.
That's what's always been there.
Was there a consideration to do less units and make them, I know you said 12 residential units and it wasn't a feasible option from a financial standpoint.
They used the same, they went to the city, and the city issued permits to do the 17. They renovated the existing walls, inside the units, and there really was no construction.
But the cost to do, I'm just thinking if it would be a better alternative to do less units of maybe a room and a half or put small kitchenettes in, but obviously I assume they went down the financial aspects of
Absolutely.
condominiumizing. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Gary?
All right, just a few questions through you, Mr. Chairman. As it relates to the bar, it's unoccupied now, but who owes the license to that?
What's his name? Dave Boise still owns it.
The previous owner of the original establishment?
No, no, he didn't own the building. It was the Courtyard Pub, Dave Boise.
Okay.
who
So there is
used-
an existing liquor,
Hmm?
there is an existing liquor license for that
Right,
site?
Yep.
Okay. Just a couple of quick questions as it relates to the front center, the courtyard itself. You're gonna be doing any landscaping and any upgrades to that?
the interesting part pertaining to the Courtyard, that's owned by the city of Lowell.
Yeah,
That's part of the right-of-way for Central Street.
Right.
So he wants to do some renovations, and we're in the process of talking to the city about doing that. They'd have to get a lease. But I was surprised to find that out myself. It's part of the right-of-way, where they have the seats out there.
Yeah, I found that out. I was at the registry of deeds and I was looking up
Yeah.
and I was kind of, I was rather shocked myself that the city would own that parcel of land, but it seems like it's always been maintained commercially by that
As part of the liquor establishment,
Right.
correct, yeah.
Certainly, I give credit to the petitioner in his due diligence in working on this building and staying the course over this amount of time. You don't see that quite often with builders, and especially dealing with historical sites. I know that can sometimes be cumbersome, but to hold a value to that bodes well for me. I'm a proponent of transitional living. I think it's a key part of
City.
reintegrating members less fortunate into society. A lot of you received here tonight from Transitional Living Center, I think is favorable. I mean, you mentioned just briefly transitional workers.
Well, I meant those people that transitional from the shelter, they want to get them back into the workforce.
No, I think, let me.
Oh, transient workers, like someone that coming in working on
They're
the
gonna be
project
here,
checks.
gonna be here for a month or so working at perhaps
Right.
the university or a downtown project,
Mhm.
those.
Working on the courthouse, working over on Jackson Street, that's what I was talking about.
Will the petitioner be minimizing his lease to a week, or will he actually ever extend if he had the opportunity?
I think if they wanted to stay for a month or 2 months, they would do that.
Would extend it if they qualify, if they're.
So you could essentially have a perpetual lease, and someone could live there for 6 months, a year, 2 years for,
Yep, as long as they're comfortable.
and their rent is paid.
Yeah.
No, I think it's, I drive by that site several times daily. I think the project itself is long overdue. The exterior has been brought up quite significantly. As it relates to the dumpsters, is there a period of time that we are going to have? I think you referred 6 more months of construction, so we'll have a construction dumpster and we'll
Right.
have a residential dumpster?
He said 6 to 9 months, right?
6 to 9 months.
6 to 9 months, they'll have a construction dumpster for the stuff on the roof
Yeah.
on the side of the building, yeah.
The construction dumpster is going to be an open cubic yard dumpster that I've seen out there with the chute coming down, and then it's going to be an enclosed, the residential dumpster itself is going to be an enclosed unit.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a ton of space in the rear of the building, so currently, right now, we have a 15-yard dumpster, which we're using for debris. And what we want to do is, we want to be able to continue to use the 15-yard dumpster till construction is completed. I need the rental income to obviously fuel the project,
Right.
to finish the project. And once the project is finished, then I'll have the ability to bring in a smaller dumpster and enclose it for the rooming house.
Okay, so now I guess my question now turns to, will you be using the construction dumpster as a residential dumpster as well?
Yes.
I don't know if they can do that, Paul, I think you have to have 2.
You have to have 2? Then I
I-
can bring one in. It's difficult with the space
I
to,
believe me, I understand you're
both,
very
yeah.
limited in space back there, but I would caution you moving forward, using a commercial dumpster for residential use.
okay.
You will be getting into some health and sanitation issues there. I know you're limited in space. I think it's a good project. I think it's a project that the city needs, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there looking to house in this type of unit. I know there's a couple similar units in the city that have been in and around for a long time, so I don't have any further questions other than parking was addressed, so the handicap issue is non-use at this time. Thank you.
I think Gary Fesno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney Flood, you indicated that you have spoke to Chuck Carney,
Right.
parking directors.
Yep.
You indicated that he's indicated that he have 9 parking spaces.
We need one space for every 2 bedrooms, and that's 9.
Yeah,
And he said, yes, that's available.
okay. And so the petitioner is willing to lease the 9
Correct.
spaces from the city?
Yes, I think he has to, as they're under the zoning ordinance.
Right,
He has to enter into a parking lease.
all right. You also indicated that this 17 unit is going to serve some population of transit workers, low transitional living center. How many of those spaces you're going to somewhat assign to or leave it for the low transitional housing or living center? Like,
You mean the parking spaces?
no, the unit.
I think they'll rent units to whoever comes in on a first-come basis, whether it be a student, an elderly person, or a worker that comes in for a month, and, they'll rent what's left to those people from the
So there's-
shelter if they need it.
So there's no certain spaces assigned
No.
for the sheltered people? All right. With regard to the dumpsters, did the petitioner agree that at some point after the project is finished, that the dumpster will be fully enclosed, right?
Correct, yes.
Right now, as the construction is going on, you have one big dumpster that's used for both, is that correct?
Well, I don't have anyone currently in the building.
Okay.
No one living,
But-
it's vacant, so I
Okay.
only have one dumpster currently.
Okay, and you are planning to have a separate dumpster or just one dumpster due to the space, the limit space in the back there?
I'll get a separate one for the residents
Right,
And
and the restaurant.
we'll enclose it.
right, okay. I concur with Gary that the proposed use is, no different than what was years ago, and that surely the petitioner understand that this is more or less gateway to the city, and that he will do a good job at it, and so that to serve the populations that need it, particularly the transit workers that come here a month or 2 doing a project and then leave town. I'm in support of this petitions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vesna. I have a couple of things I want to ask of Joe. Joe, was there an abutters listing sent out for this?
Yeah, abutters were notified for this application.
Okay. Was it in our package?
The abutters list isn't typically put in your package. I could provide it if you'd like to see
Okay,
it.
but there was a listing put out, okay. And I know I saw a couple of things from the city departments. Did the health department, did they respond at all to this?
Kendra Amaral provided her memorandum on behalf of the Board of Health, and
She
it
did.
mainly talked about the
Okay,
dumpster
good.
enclosure.
And she what?
I said it mainly noted, as you noted before, it talked about the dumpster enclosure.
Okay. Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we've talked about the dumpsters and the parking, and I'm pretty satisfied with the responses on those 2 elements. I love the idea of the hotel or the transient living single-room use being brought back to this building, and I think that it's needed in our working-class city, and it's a good location, being downtown. Not the best location, but a good location. These room sizes, though, I see 16 units. I see one really small unit that doesn't seem to fly very well here. I'm kind of surprised that we're still maintaining Unit 3B. And I think that you probably should compromise on that. That just seems like a real tough one. I understand you want to get the maximum return on the building, and I know that it's already, there. But of all the units, that one there really kind of gets
You're talking 3E.
3E, sorry.
No, I think
Three-
he's
3B.
talking
No,
on the
unit
second,
3B.
third floor here.
I think it's this one here.
3D?
3B, B as in boy.
3 boy?
It looks like about an 8-foot width to the room.
It's a little bigger than that. It does fit a full-size bed,
You know,
a sink, a table and chairs,
I understand
a
what you're saying.
bureau.
That's the original size though, correct?
Yeah, it's exactly the same floor plan.
No, I understand what you're saying. On the room across the hall, you've obviously got a double,
Big
kind of a 3H. There's no other room in the facility that's, I mean, they get small. You really do pack them in.
Well, yes. What it is we separate it into, like, you can have either a regular-sized bed or a twin-size bed. And the prices vary on, obviously, the size of the room and the space. So they're gonna start at, $125 to $150 and include cable. So it's pretty much a,
Cable, as long as it has cable.
you know,
Wi-Fi, please. What about the laundry? You mentioned there was a laundry on the second floor? Is that right?
third floor, we put in coin-operated laundry machines, washer and dryer.
Okay, so that's in the bathroom. I got it.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. All right, well, again, I really like the idea of this being brought back to this building. I think that, seeing a historic building used as it was originally intended is a nice thing to have. And I'm satisfied with the park and the dumpster, so I support this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Well, I think I echo pretty much what the rest of my board members have mentioned. I know, and I can be corrected, but I think this parcel has been discussed on the city council floor a few times also about where it's located and the condition it was once in at one point, and it would be great to have it fixed up and obviously usable so we can get some tax dollars, but also have a occupied building. So with those things said, I think the building has seen a vast improvement over time, and I was sitting on this board when you first came in and made your proposal for that. And I've heard more about benefits than opposition to this proposal. So with that said, I have a list of 4 conditions here I'd like to go through, if you want to make note of these.
Sure.
Sure. And Mr. Flood, first one is historic board approval, including the dumpster location. Second one would be a lease agreement with the city of Lowell for the parking. Third one I have is, I'm putting on here the waiver of the documentation that was required, that we accepted that. And then the fourth that I have is the striping of the rear lot for the parking, once that's determined. So I guess based on where the dumpster goes, Mr. Flood, that might lend itself to where the parking would be also, correct? Okay. Does anyone else have any other conditions they'd like to include? So hearing none.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, with conditions that the petitioner obtained historical board approval, including the dumpsters, fully enclosed in the back, leasing a parking space from the city of Lowell, or a total of 9, and a waiver of document required by this board. And fourth is the stripe of parking or the rear of the lot. Is there any other things that you'd
No.
like to include, sir?
That's all of them, thank you.
Those are the conditions.
So, can I have a motion?
Second, sir.
I'm sorry. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved?
Mr. Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Nguyen?
Approve with condition.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved with conditions. So, Mr. Flood, you've been approved with conditions. I wish the petitioner the best of luck, and hopefully it's a successful project.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I checked the decision here, Mr. Bailey. Your name is?
They counted me out, huh? Oh, I must have taken a night off, yeah. Huh? Thank you. Okay, next
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
on our agenda,
Minute.
is there something you wanted to?
No, the minutes, sir.
Right, that's where I was going to go. We're going to go to other business. First thing on our other business is the approval of 2012 meeting schedule. Anyone have any comments on the meeting schedule? Hearing none? We don't need to, we do? Oh, jeez. Can I have a motion, on the 2012 calendar?
I make a motion to approve the 2000 zoning board of appeal calendars, sir.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a roll call.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved?
Mr. Perrin?
Approve.
Mr. Nguyen?
Approve.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved. And the next order of business is approval of the minutes.
I make a motion, sir, to approve the November 14 and November 28 minutes of the board.
May I have a second?
Second?
A roll call.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved?
Mr. Perrin?
Approve.
Mr. Nguyen?
Approve, sir.
Mr. Ahern?
Approve.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved. Anybody else have any other business they'd like to discuss? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the order.
Thank you, sir.